Okay, exactly 3 o'clock. A very good afternoon to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today is Sunday, 25th June 2023. So we'll be continuing our sharing from this book, Metta Bhavana. Meditation on loving kindness is compounded by me. I think today we can cover the whole book already. Left with maybe about 10 pages. We are at page 62. Yes. Okay, as usual, let us compose our mind, develop the faith, Saddha, Virya. Mindfully we shall commence the Puja chanting. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛。Namo 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 观世音菩萨。Namo 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 阿弥陀佛。Namo 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 弥勒佛。Namo 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 普贤菩萨。Namo 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 地藏王菩萨。Namo 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 佛菩萨。Namo 佛菩萨。Namo 佛菩萨。Arahang Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sāka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Adina Dana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Kamesu Miccācara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Musawada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Surameraya Majapama Tatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, let us pay respect to Puja. Buddhang Pujayami. Dhammang Pujayami. Sahang Pujame. Just relax body and mind and maintain some of our attention. Then we will be continuing with our chanting. Turn to page 6 of the chanting book. Invocation to the Devas. In this universe, in the entirety, let the deities or Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakkamokadang Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Savanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti peso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vijja charana sampanno sugato lokavido Anuttaro purisa dhammasarati Satta deva manusanang Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opanayiko Pachatang Veditabo Vinohiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Samicipatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yogani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakeneyo Anjali Karaneyo Anutarang Punyang Ketang Lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, let us now continue from where we stopped, page 62 of this book, Metta Bhavana. We are at number 7, the blessings of Metta. So if you practice or cultivate this Metta Bhavana or loving kindness meditation regularly until you become very good, then these blessings, 11 of them, they will arise or accrue to the person who cultivates it. Because in the sutta, the Metta Sutta, there is an explanation. The Buddha said, monks, When this metta or universal love leading to liberation is ardently practiced, developed, unrelentingly resorted to, used as one's vehicle for the foundation of one's life, fully established, well consolidated, and perfected, then these 11 blessings may be expected. What are the 11? So these are all very beautiful blessings. The first one is one sleeps happily, one wakes up happily. Means before you sleep, you are happy. Then when you sleep, you are also happy. Then when you wake up, you are also happy. One does not suffer from bad dreams because one is dear to human beings and one is also dear to non-humans. The God protect one. That's why no fire, no poison, or no weapon can harm one. Means that blessing protects you. One's mind get quickly concentrated, means become calm, become composed, peaceful. Then the expression of one's face is serene. This is very true, very, very true. Then there is a loving kindness, joy inside the expression. One dies unperturbed, and even if one fails to attain the higher state, one will at least reach the state of the Brahma world. Means you will take birth within the Brahma world, or the form world, the Rupa Loka. And there's a footnote. AN. I think AN stands for Anagra Nikaya, I think, 11.16 on Metta. Metta Nisamsa Sutta. Okay. The next part is Metta Ceto Vimutti. Universal love leading to liberation of mind. Vimutti is liberation of mind. Ceto signifies the attainment of samadhi, or absorption based upon meditation on metta. Since metta liberates the mind from the bondage of hatred and anger, selfishness, greed, and delusion, it constitutes a state of liberation. Means at that time when the mind is developing metta until metta very strong, then it's as if that being has liberated his mind and like he is enlightened. But because he goes in through Ceto, so at that stage when he is having that samadhi or absorption or concentration mind, then all the mental hindrances are suppressed. It cannot be rooted out. So at that time, even though the mind behaves as if it has liberated from the three evil defilements, no more mental hindrance, the mind is composed, calm, tranquil, still. But it's not a free mind. That's why it's different. At that time, you cannot confirm whether the cultivator or the being is truly liberated or not, or enlightened or not. Because the evil roots, if it's not rooted out via wisdom, which is Panya Vimutti, then the enlightenment is not really the true enlightenment that the Buddha meant. Okay, I read on. Every time one practices metta, for however short a period, one enjoys a certain measure of freedom of mind. Measureless freedom of mind, however, is to be expected only when metta is fully developed into samadhi. Then the various applications of metta as indicated by the term practice, develop, etc. signify a well-structured force, brought about not only by specific hours of metta meditation, but also by converting all of one's deed, words and thought into the act of metta. Means everything you develop, body, speech and mind, there is metta within. By practice, asevita is meant the ardent practice of metta, not as a mere intellectual exercise, but by committing oneself wholeheartedly to it and make it a life's guiding philosophy, something which conditions one's attitude, outlook, and conduct. By develop, the meaning is in Pali, bhavita, is implied the various processes of inner culture and mental integration effected by the practice of this Metta Bhavana, or meditation on universal love. Since meditation brings about unification of mind by interacting the various faculties, it is called development of mind. The Buddha taught that the entire mental world is developed by the practice of meditation on loving kindness, or Metta Bhavana, universal love, leading to mind's liberation and the transformation of personality. Unrelentlessly resort to means in Pali they term it as bahulikata, emphasizes repeatedly, means repeated practice of metta all through one's waking hour in deeds or action, words and thought, and maintain the tempo of metta awareness throughout. Repeated action means generation of power, all the 5 spiritual powers or spiritual faculties, namely Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi and Panya, means faith, vigor or tenacious zeal, Z-E-A-L, mindfulness, samadhi and wisdom. They are exercised and cultivated by the repeated practice of metta. When your metta is very strong, your spiritual faculties will be developed too. Then when you can completely develop the 5 spiritual faculties leading to its stability, which we call palas, then your wisdom will also grow and develop into insight knowledges or understanding that can liberate the mind, root out the defilements, root out the mental hindrance. Then the word used as one's vehicle, yanikata, signify a total commitment to the ideal of metta as the only valid technique or method for the solution of interpersonal problem and as an instrument for spiritual growth. When metta is the only mode of communication, the only vehicle, life automatically is a divine abiding. as mentioned in the Metta Sutta. So this one is actually mentioned in the Metta Sutta. So divine abiding means you can realize the divine understanding, then can abide as a divine being. And I will read on. Make the foundation of one's life means, in Pali they call it Vattukata. Is making metta the basis of one's existence in all respects. It becomes the chief resort, the haven, the refuge of one's life, making one's refuge in the Dhamma a reality. So all this is to strengthen the cultivation. Then I read on. Finally, fully established. In Pali they call it anuttita. Refers to a life that is firmly rooted in metta, has anchorage in metta under all circumstances, where metta become like effortlessly manifesting. Like when you are able to radiate it from the heart, means the metta is effortless. It's all the time there, and you can just radiate it out. Not even by error does one violates the law of this universal love or metta. At that time, I remember it's very strong. And then there is another term to describe it. Well consolidated. In Pali is called parichitta. It means one is so habituated to metta. Means it has become like a part of you. It's the habitual tendency, but this is for the good mind states. So well consolidated means one is so developed in metta that it has become a part of you, that one's remain effortlessly immersed in metta, both during meditation as well as in one's day-to-day conduct, means in your daily life. And there is another term, perfected. In Pali is called sung samarata. This indicates a mode of completeness through total adherence and development, leading to that fully integrated state in which one enjoys perfect well-being and spiritual felicity, indicated by the passage detailing the 11 blessings of metta. So this one is the final perfection of it. Then the benefits of metta are indeed great and comprehensive. For a follower of the Buddha, this is one supreme instrument that can be used with advantage everywhere. Okay, then number 8. The power of metta. The subjective benefits of metta or universal love is evident enough. The enjoyment of beings, good health, peace of mind, radiant future, and the affections and goodwill of all are indeed great blessings of life, accruing from the practice of Metta Bhavana or Metta meditation. But what is even more wonderful is the impact which metta has on the environment. And this is very true. And on other living beings, very true, including animals, the Devas, as the Pali scripture and commentaries illustrate with several memorable stories. So these are very true. When you develop metta to that stability, you can feel them, you can realize them, and that metta state of mind is very different. You have a lot of loving kindness, your compassion, your love, your kindness, your radiant smile, very genuine. And at that time I remember that metta is so true and so sincere from the heart. It just radiates out on its own naturally. It's like a universal metaphor. An animal can feel you, non-human can feel you, even living being. Their nature can feel you, but their thought they don't understand. They can feel it, but they don't understand what the thing is. When I tested it, they turn around and they look out, they smile. But the memory, the thought process cannot understand. So when it comes to metta, is that metaphors from your nature. So when it's radiated, when it has developed to that stability, it can have a lot of influence on living being. This is what we call the power of metta. Okay, go back. Once the Buddha was returning from his alms round, together with his retinue of monks. As they were nearing the prison, in consideration of a handsome bride from Devadatta, the Buddha's evil and ambitious cousin, the executioner let loose the fierce elephant Nalagiri, which was used for the execution of criminals. As the intoxicated elephant rushed towards the Buddha, trumpeting fearfully, the Buddha radiated powerful thoughts of metta towards the elephant Nalagiri. The Venerable Ananda, the Buddha's attendant, was so deeply concerned about the Buddha's welfare and safety that he ran in front of the Buddha to shake him. But the Buddha asked him to stand aside, since the projection of metta itself was quite sufficient. The impact of the Buddha's metta radiation was so immediate and overwhelming that by the time the animal near the Buddha, it was completely tame, as though a drunkard wretch had suddenly become sober by the magical power of a spell. The taster of the elephant, it is said, bowed down in reverence in the way the trained elephant do in a circus. So this was the story. And this story, I think, was very popular during the time of the Buddha, often shared by many. Then the Visuddhimagga also record the case of a landlord of Pataliputra, or modern Patna, Visakha by name, the landlord. It seems he had heard that the island of Sri Lanka was a veritable garden of Dhamma, with its innumerable shrines and stupa adorning the island. And blessed with a favorable climate, the people were highly righteous, following the teachings of the Buddha with great fervor and sincerity. Visakha decided to visit Sri Lanka and spent the rest of his life there as a monk. Accordingly, he made over his great fortune to his wife and children and left home with a single gold coin. He stopped for some time at the port town of Tamralipi, or modern Tamluk, waiting for a ship, and during that time engaged himself in business and made 1,000 gold coins. Eventually he reached Sri Lanka and went to the capital city of Anuradhapura. There he went to the famous Mahavihara and asked the abbot's permission to become a Sangha. As he was led to the chapter house for the ordination ceremony, the purse containing the 1,000 gold coins dropped out from under his belt. When asked, "What is it?" he said, "I had 1,000 gold coins, sir." When he was told that monk cannot possess any money, he said, "I don't want to possess it, but I wanted to distribute it among all who come for this ceremony." Accordingly, he opened his purse and stole the entire yard of the chapter house, saying, "Let no one who has come to witness Visakha's ordination depart empty-handed." After spending 5 years with his teacher, he now decided to go to the famous Chittala forest, where a good number of monks with supernatural powers live. Accordingly, he went to the jungle monastery of Chittala. On his way, he came to a fork in the road and stood wondering which way must he take. Since he has been practicing Metta Bhavana assiduously, he found a certain Deva living in the rock there, holding out a hand, pointing the road to him. After reaching Chittalapata younger monastery, he occupied one of the huts. Having stayed there for 4 months, as he was thinking of leaving the next morning, he heard someone weeping. And when he asked, "Who is that?" the Deva living in the manila tree at the end of the walkway said, "Venerable sir, I am Mani Liya, that is, belonging to the manila tree." "Then why are you weeping?" The reply was, "Because you are thinking of going away from here." Then Visakha asked, "What good does my living here do to you?" The answer came, "Venerable sir, so long as you live here, the Devas and other non-humans treat each other with kindness. When you are gone, they will again start their wrangling and quarrels." Then Visakha replied, "Well, if my living here makes all of you live in peace, it is good." And so he stayed on for another 4 months. It is said that when he again thought of going, again the deities or devas weep. So these elders stay on permanently and attain Nibbana there. Such is the impact of Metta Bhavana on them, even among the non-humans. So these are the Jataka stories at that time, the time of the Buddha, 2,600 years ago. So there were a lot of this type of story and sharings that show to us the power of metta, the efficacy. Okay, I'll read on. There is also the famous story of a cow. It seems that a cow was giving milk to her baby calf in the forest. A hunter wanted to kill her, flung a spear, which, when it struck her body, bounced off like a palm leaf. So mightily powerful is metta, loving kindness. This is not the case of one who has developed metta samadhi. It is a simple case of the consciousness of love for the calf, baby calf of the offspring. Indeed, the power of metta can never be told enough. The commentaries to the Pali canon are replete with stories. Not only the monks, but also ordinary people who overcame various dangers, including weapon and poison, through the sheer strength of metta, selfless love. But let not metta be mistaken as a mere sentiment. It is the power of the strong. If the leader from different walks of life were to give metta a fair trial, no principles or guideline to act would be found to possess greater efficiency and fruitfulness in all spheres. In everything, man is the ultimate unit. If man decides to substitute metta as a policy of action for aggression and ill will, the world will turn into a veritable abode of peace. For it is only when man shall have peace within himself and the boundless goodwill for others that peace in the world will become real and enduring. So this one are all the sayings. Oh, no more already. Oh, okay, about the author. This is the last part. So we have to maybe get to know who the author is, but this author is very famous. So the author of the book, I took from 2 or 3 books, I think. They were very good books written on Metta Bhavana in the early years, 1986, 87, when I started going to Brickfield Temple to develop the what they call study of the Buddha Dhamma. I remember that time I went to Brickfield. There were a lot of these free distribution booklets, and many of them are chief reverence booklet, together with some printed Metta Bhavana leaflet or small booklet that were donated by people who sponsored the printing. And later on, when I read through, I find it very useful, very beneficial. Then I also printed quite a number of copies and sent them for free distribution too. At that time, I chose Wave, I remember, Sister Pali and the husband Eric. So they were the one that helped me do the reprinting. Then we distribute it. Then later on, when I came out to share, there were people who wanted that books that benefited me to be shared. So I photostat that somewhere. I remember my printed copy or no more already distributed in the early days. Then what I did was, I decided finally to compile one Metta Bhavana book based on all this book and my own understanding. And I edited through the thing. I changed a few of the words that are not so accurate. Then I compile it. That's why we have this book, Metta Bhavana, Meditation on Loving Kindness. That's compiled by me. Yeah. I think this one was in the year 2020, 3rd of September, immediately after MCO, I think, not long after that. So this book, you have interest in developing metta, it can help you. Okay, then I read on. The author is Venerable Acharya Buddharakita, a founder and also president of the Mahabodhi Society. This is a very famous society in Bangalore, India. This Mahabodhi Society. In 1956, he was a member of the editorial board of the 6th Buddhist Synod or Buddhist Council in Rangoon, which brought out a complete edition of the Pali Canon, the Tipitaka. Since then, he has written numerous books and translation of the Buddhist texts, which has been published in many countries. Best known for is his classic English rendering of the Dhammapada, published by the PPS under the title The Dhammapada, the Buddhist Path of Wisdom. He also edits and publishes a monthly magazine. This monthly magazine is quite interesting. It's a Dhamma magazine. I received it in the early days when I was at Breakview, I remember. Then it's an internationally recognized meditation master. He has lived and taught about and founded the Buddha Yoga Meditation Society in the United States. He has also taught Buddhology at the Nalanda Pali Postgraduate Institute of Bihar University. Passionately committed to putting Buddhist principles into practice, he has established distinction in multifaceted humanitarian activity in his native country, India. Then there is this publisher's note. BPS is the Buddhist Publication Society. The Buddhist Publication Society is an approved charity dedicated to making known the teachings of the Buddha, which has a vital message for people of all creeds. Founded in 1958, the Buddhist Publication Society has published a wide variety of books and booklets covering a great range of topics. Its publications include accurate annotation, translation of the Buddha's discourses, standard reference work, as well as original contemporary exposition of the Buddhist thought and practice. This work represents Buddhism as it truly is, a dynamic force which has influenced receptive mind for the past 2,500 years, and it's still as relevant today as it was when it first arose. So this is the British Publication Society that addresses that. P.O. Box 6154, Sangaraja Mawata, Kandy, Sri Lanka. At 1989, Buddhist Publication Society. So here they have this, what they call, they establish this general rules. He said you may copy, reformat, reprint, republish, and distribute this work in any media, whatever, provided that you only make such copy, etc., available for free distribution or free of charge. And in the case of reprinting, only a quantity of not more than 50. Number 2, you clearly indicate that any derivatives of this work, including translation, are derived from this source document. And number 3, you include the full text of this license in any copies or derivatives of this work. Otherwise, all rights are reserved. Document link from this page may be subject to other restriction. So there is this, the Will publication number 365/366, Kandy, Buddhist Publication Society, 1989. Then transcribed from the print edition in 1995 by Jane Udiman. I skipped one sentence. Under the auspice of the DhammaNet Dhamma Book Transcription Project, with the kind permission of the Buddhist Publication Society. How to cite this document? So it's written there. There's a link. A suggested style. So the title they have at that time is Metta, the Philosophy and Practice of Universal Love, or Metta, by Acharya Bodharatkita. Access to Insight, BCBS edition, 30th November 2013. Then the link is down there, HTTP, the long one. Okay. Oh, that's all, Index. Okay, good, that's all. So we finished. So finally, we managed to complete this book. So after this book, I will continue with the next book, which is also very good. This book is Understanding the Heart and the Mind, which based on the talk I delivered in the year 2018, and it was transcribed, and we edited the transcript. I edited the transcript, then print it out into a book form. It's a very good book. This one is for you to understand. The title is Understanding the Heart and the Mind. The heart and the mind is not what people think. When we talk about the heart, it's not just a physical organ. Because within the vicinity of the heart, there is this, what they call conscience, and also the gateway to our nature. There is also the seat of our consciousness. So a lot of these things, if you are not a cultivator, you cannot understand. But if you are a cultivator, you finally reach the heart with your meditative training. You will come to understand more, because the heart is also where a lot of things take place. Your emotion is also at certain point of the heart. It's more towards the center. Then the conscious is towards the left, and many other. So all this, unless you meditate and realize the heart, then able to develop the understanding of it, means with your awareness, you are able to actually penetrate the heart. Initially, it's with your what they call whatever virtue, kindness, like loving kindness or whatever, then your faith and all those things. So most of the time we put our palms together. We actually pay respect. Or do you realize if you have been doing it for a long time with faith and all those things, there's an energy that actually goes backward into your heart area because your faith is developed from there. So the energy actually is part and parcel of your cultivation's energy. So your mind is pure, your faith is stable, strong, sincere. Then it will activate the heart. I remember in the early days, the initial years, the heart was not sensitive because the heart needs cultivation. You need this pure energy or virtue or strong mind states, especially the spiritual qualities, faith, saddha, virya, and all those things. And of course, sati, mindfulness. As you develop it, I realized the heart slowly open up and become sensitive. That was the beginning, I remember. That was in the early years. Then after that, you have to actually go into the daily mindfulness, sati, to develop the sati, the mindfulness and awareness, to actually locate the gateway. But before that is the initial wisdom, born of sati, the direct seeing, that enable one to see things as they are, to develop the wisdom, spiritual faculties. Then when you constantly listen to the Dhamma, reflect, contemplate with that creative mind, the faith becomes stronger. Then more and more pure energy or virtuous energy or wisdom energy, they will start to have an effect on your heart area. Then your meditation becomes different. Then later on, you switch over to awareness-based meditation. You will progress very fast. Then finally, for those who have the condition, you can actually take the bodhisattva way to locate the gateway to your nature. That one is from the heart. That's why the title of this book is very unique. Understanding the heart and the mind. Here I refer to both the true mind and the mundane mind. Of course, the brain is mostly pertaining to the mundane mind. But that true mind is that true nature within. But to access it, you need to go to the heart. Then the heart is also, like I explained earlier on, where the conscience is, where the emotion is, where the gateway is, where the seat of consciousness is. So the seat of consciousness is where our karmic force or life force that arise. We call it the pulse of life. That karmic force or life force actually gave us the powers of life that actually power our heart. That's why your blood will have that nature's energy. And from there, the consciousness travel to all the organs that it nourishes. So all these are explained in the book. So we will use this as the next book for sharing. So make a note. I show you the book again. Understanding the heart and the mind. So just relax body and mind, maintain awareness, then stabilize the awareness. To train your mind to be aware. So relaxation is very important. Relax means feel yourself completely relaxed, at ease. In Mandarin is pang song. So just relax, body and mind, completely relax. Then maintain awareness. Maintain awareness means there is an awareness that is aware of what is going on, but before the knowing, before the perception, like later on, whatever that imprints on your organ, it can be your hearing organ, the ear, just aware, finish. Then whatever that you detect through your nose, the smell, aware, finish. And if you are tasting something or swallowing something, that consciousness that arises, aware, finish. No need to continue to perceive it and think about it. That is to train your mind to be aware, so that it does not continue to think, to proliferate. Then tactile, wherever you can feel within your physical, cold and hot, and whether there is any tension, tightness or stress within, you just feel it, then relax into it. Awareness means the pure feeling before the perception. When you are just aware, in fact the feeling aggregate is very near to our awareness. When you start to be aware, that is the first awareness that manifests from your nature, because our nature is basically awareness. So the first thing to come is the pure awareness. But the problem with human being is, the moment you are aware, you want to feel, then you want to perceive, then you want to think. That's how the mind becomes heedless, lost in thought, create thinking. So this awareness-based meditation is to see this and reverse it, so that it does not think, so that you are just aware, finish, aware, finish. Continue to relax and allow the awareness to stabilize, so that you don't think. Then find out what happened. If you are patient enough, finally your awareness will become so quiet and so still. We are no more thinking, no more emotion, no more activity of sankhara processes. It's just like the computer shut down. When it's completely shut down, all the noise gone, no more. Yeah, it's the same. So when the computer, you on it, it's like all the chips starts to function, a lot of noise, a lot of movement, activity, current and all that. So in a similar way, our true mind is like the computer that is completely shut down. No activity, nothing. But when you on it, means you become conscious of life. When you wake up, you start to be conscious of what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you tactily feel and think. Then your emotion, your decision, your views, your opinion, your conditioning. So all this from memory, they start to come in and interact with the consciousness. That's why this consciousness become noisy, like the computer. It starts to receive sense data. So sense data are like all the data that you input into the computer. Then they process it. They process it. Every time they process it, it's like your brain, through the consciousness, through the mundane mind, they process all those data that you receive based on what? Memory. Because everything that you accumulate in your memory, they are your experiences, good and bad, wholesome and unwholesome. And most of the things accumulated are the negative part, like your phobia, your fear, your insecurity, your nightmare, your sorrow, your lamentation, your deep resentment, your unhappiness. So all this, they are going to affect you. Then even the happy moments, like your good moments in life, if you attach to those memories, then it projects your thoughts and give rise to fantasy, craving, desire. You want it repeated, the experience. So there is also a part of craving. Craving for sensual experience that you like. Then the one you don't like, you try to push it away. It can be your fear, your worry, your anxiety, your sorrow, your lamentation, your insecurity, and all these things. So all these are what the Buddha called mental hindrance, sensual desire and ill will. And these two manifest very often in our mundane thinking mind. So meditation is to reverse all this. That's why we just relax, maintain awareness. Aware, finish. Don't try to know. Don't try to do anything. Okay? Just do that. Yeah, then I will set the alarm now. 45 minutes. Later on, when the 45 minutes is up, the alarm will sound, will be triggered. Then I will ring the bell. Upon hearing the bell, slowly, mindfully, come out of the meditation. Then try to maintain whatever inner peace, inner calmness, and inner awareness that you have developed for as long as you can. So this is the training of the mind to be in a state of awareness without thought. You can do it well. You will understand a lot of things. You will progress very fast in the understanding of meditation. You can slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation. And we'll continue with our second session, which is meditation reporting. Or you can ask any question regarding the teaching or what we have shared as meditation question or Dhamma question. Then the third alternative is to share whatever Dhamma experience that you have gone through, Dhamma in daily life, how you have the understanding to apply this Dhamma, this teaching, to help you live life, understand life, and overcome whatever life difficulties.
Brother Dio, Mrs. Dio and okay, Mita. 我想 add on to 我们的 Thursday 的 sharing
那个很好，对。
它是很好，因为我觉得它不管你是初学者到还是你学习到某一个程度，你都能够学习到很多东西，因为 很 basic 的，从很 basic 的 brother 就讲 about 那个how to deal with 那个 thought。
对，
很多时候，我还记得我起初学坐禅的时候，就是很多的 thought comes in and then you know，
对
then 你不知道怎样，就好像 brother 就讲，当你想推开这个 thought 的时候，另外一个 thought 又跳出来。
对。
当下如果我们没有这个 understanding， 我们就是一直在那边纠缠，在那个 thought 里面。所以这个是很一个 basic， 但是很重要的部分，我们要去理解那个 thought， 就是怎样从那个 five aggregates 我们去把 rise and then you know have the understanding how to deal with it because 它其实是不存在的，只是因为 condition
就是我们的无明啊。Then 我们去 give meaning 制作 ，then from that memory 那边就起心动念哦，这个念头就全部不停的发出来哦。Then 起心动念了啊，即无明啊。From there you create a lot of other things without you knowing the emotion, the like and dislike, the doubt, the fear, the worry, the anxiety. Then how to make it quiet? That's why they have to come up with method and technique, or they force the mind to be quiet. They don't want to think, but it becomes worse because that thought that doesn't want to think is a craving, is a negative craving that want to stop it, push it away, and that itself is a resistance. That's why you will come to realize the more you resist, the more active the thought is, and the mind cannot settle down. The way to settle down is, like I explained, the four support for awareness-based meditation, to relax and not to do anything. When you are relaxed, you maintain awareness. Anything that arises, aware, finish. That's when the mind will slowly become quiet. Then it will start to decondition its heedless thinking by being aware, then finish. Means no more continuous thinking, continuous perception, reaction, stirring of the mind, reactive sense response. All this will become an activity of delusion of the past, which the cultivator who understands will not do. Then you just sit quietly in a relaxed manner, silent, and whatever arises, let it arise. And then it will slow down. It will slow down. The mind activity will slow down. You don't feed it with any craving force or any thought force. You don't try to do anything. Then it will slow down, and become very quiet. That is the real understanding to develop awareness-based meditation. But most people don't have that understanding. That's why 好像你刚才 want to explain, these are very basic problem that meditator will face, but nobody can explain to them what is all this and how to reverse it or what to do when you are encounter with all things. So what was commonly taught, I realized at that time, was all the thought-based teaching. They come up with method, technique, object of meditation. Then they give you a series of instructions to do things. Then they ask you to note this, note that. Especially traditional noting technique of one particular teaching. That one has dominated the Vipassana society of the Vipassana world for quite a long period of time. And it was so commonly accepted at that time. Then later on, when I was asked to come out to teach or to share, I realized the conditioning was so strong. I couldn't overnight teach people something that is totally opposite of what they have been told or taught and do. That's why I had to slowly go back to basic Dhamma, the essential basic Dhamma, to let them understand. Then I had to allow initially, in the early days, whatever method, technique you use, you continue to use, no harm, as long as you understand what you are doing in the name of meditation. Then slowly I introduce the understanding. At first I said method and technique and even object of meditation, they do not define the meditation. Well, the meditation as taught by the Buddha has nothing to do with all this. These are preliminary skillful means to actually train the mind not to be heedlessly lost in thought. When they realize they think a lot, the thought wander off very fast, create thinking activity, create all the what they call mental activity and movement, the stirring of the mind, the reactive manifestation of mind, then all the emotion, the fear, the worry, the anxiety, the gross excitement and all that, then seldom one can actually develop calmness of mind, peacefulness of mind, stillness of mind, tranquility of mind. That one is even more rare. That's why they come out with method technique. And even start with metta. In the early day, it was very common, start with metta. So that when you have metta, loving kindness, when you wish people well and happy, that love, that compassion, that well-being and happiness will make you calm, peaceful, and the mind composed, because it's a happy state. It's a pure mind state where you only radiate love and metta. Then later on, from metta, they go into method and technique and object of meditation. Actually, all these are introduced to anchor the mind. So you look at all the instruction, whether it's chanting or Buddha or rising and falling or anapanasati or anything. It's about centering the mind on the object of meditation or the method and the technique that they introduce to you, so that you stay with the method, stay with the technique, or stay with the object of meditation. So by doing that, they believe the mind will not wander off. But at least anapanasati is not so bad, like what the Buddha introduced. He said, breathing in aware. He never asks you to focus, concentrate, or note. He said, aware means the breath and the awareness move as one. Then breathing out, again, aware, just aware. Standing, aware. Bending, stretching, turning, aware. Everything you do, just aware. That's why that is our second support. Aware, mindful. Whatever you do, mindful. That's it. Yeah. But of course, if you can relax, it's better. So relaxation, I don't know whether the Buddha introduced or not, but it must be a commonly understood principle. If you are not relaxed, you cannot be in a state of meditative attentiveness. So the body that has the ability to relax can develop the meditation, can become peaceful and quiet. But most human beings don't understand all those things that I described just now. What they do is, when they go into the daily life during their waking moments, when they are conscious of life, in activity in life, they become heedless. They think a lot, they worry a lot, they plan a lot. So they create a lot of thought processes. Then they develop a lot of reaction to sense experience type of mind states, which are both positive and negative, mainly sensual desire and ill will. And because they are mental hindrance, As we know, sensual desire, evil, or mental hindrance, they hinder our mind from entering the meditative state, our inner peace, inner calmness, and inner awareness. And because of that, meditator and cultivator of the way who are not mindful in the midst of life cannot develop the quiet mind, the silent mind, the meditative mind. Because these are mental hindrance. Hinder your mind from entering the meditative state. That's why you will have all this agitation, restlessness, too much thinking, too much fear, worry, anxiety. And sometimes when you encounter a problem, you don't know how to resolve it. You develop unhappiness, leading to sorrow, lamentation. Then some even go into depression. Then a lot of this thought that project to create fear, worry, anxiety, these are delusion. Because the mind that don't have wisdom worry about life. That's why I always explain no amount of fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, and lamentation, and negativity of mind state can help you solve your problem. Your problem cannot be resolved through worrying, through having fear, anxiety, sorrow, and lamentation. You have to accept what happened first, come to terms with the reality of the moment, like the Buddha said. Whatever happened, whatever they have a reason, there are causes and conditions behind. So there is nothing you can do. You accept first, and then you have clarity of mind. Your mind is not agitated. There is no mental hindrance. There is no fear, worry, anxiety. There is no negativity or mental state. But the acceptance makes the mind peaceful. Yeah, this is a reality. Not only I have to accept, the whole world have to accept. You have to confront it with understanding, to accept that reality first. And then you act after that. Doesn't mean you don't act. That's why in life we have to make decisions, we have to act. But we act with understanding, with wisdom, not according to our memory, which is full of negativity of mind states. The psychological memory that is very, very negative and full of the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion that create a lot of wrong thought, affliction, suffering, that delude you, condition you to grasp, cling, and hold on to a lot of things within life, existence, and nature. So when you understand all this, then you start to develop the understanding of the teaching, the Dhamma. Then when you understand, you act according to the Dhamma as taught by the Buddha, which is basically the Four Noble Truths. The Fourth Noble Truth, the Noble Eightfold Path, which is the path that you must cultivate, develop, perfect it, and make it a living reality so that you can live it. Then, if you do that, the Buddha said, you cultivate this Noble Eightfold Path accordingly until it's a living reality. Then it can help to bring about the cessation of all suffering. All affliction, all suffering, all misery, all delusion can be rooted out, and they can all cease. And that is the meditation as taught by the Buddha. So understanding all this is very important, most important in fact. That's why I say you have to meditate with understanding. So when I introduce the awareness meditation, awareness-based meditation is to allow people to understand all this. Then the fourth support is to help you go into the meditative state immediately. It means like a shortcut. Instead of wasting your time on all the thought-based activity, thought-based meditation, like Huining, the first hallmark of Huining is Wu Nian means to straight away bring forth the training to train your mind from the heedless thinking state back to the pure awareness that he started. That's why Song that night also saw that and realized that is the most beautiful. Well, at the moment I draw, we have to bring that pure awareness back to the second circle, where the first thing to come out from our nature is the pure awareness, to realize that, to stay with that pure mind, the true mind, the silent mind, the meditative mind, the pure awareness nature inside, which we are developing through the awareness-based meditation. Then when you are there, that is where the awareness nature can allow you to meditate, develop the wisdom, the understanding. When you are in that pure awareness, it's before the knowing, before the thinking, before the perception, before the thought or the sankhara activity proliferate or trigger. So because of that, there is a direct seeing. You can see things as they are, where the thoughts are not interfering. Your memories, your views, your opinion, your conditioning, the mental activity, they are not interfering. It's just silent, tranquil, peaceful, aware. And this one can see all the activity and movement and develop the understanding of who are you, what are you, and how you function as a human being. Then from there, you like wake up. Then you understand the essential Dhamma of the Buddha, the three universal characteristics, that this form of mind is not you because it's not a permanent and changing entity. This one is also dependent originating, condition arising, causal phenomena, not what you think. So all this is what awareness-based meditation is all about. So when you understand this, you will progress differently, very fast, not like normal people trapped in the thought, trapped in the delusion, doing meditation without understanding. They have been following method, technique, and object of meditation for don't know how many umpteen years. And all these are the actually ancient days practices, and they are typical samatha thought-based meditation. In fact, when it started in India, the Hindu meditation, a lot of them are based on all this method technique leading to jhana, concentration, and all those things. Of course, they have their more detailed teaching or explanation, but as far as sati is concerned, it was not something that they have the understanding. It's only after the advent of the Samasa Buddha Sakyamuni that this teaching on mindfulness, awareness arise. That's why you check all the religion in this world. The only big difference between the Buddhist teaching, Dhamma, that the Buddha taught, and the other religion is sati, mindfulness, is almost missing in most of them. But one thing in common is all religion teaches people to be morally, ethically good. That's why the first two advice of the Buddha, avoiding all evil, do good. In fact, most religion have them. But when it comes to purification of mind, different religion teach different things. Most of them teach all the thought-based teaching. That's why they cannot penetrate beyond the thought process. They are still within the field of thought. When you are still within the field of thought, you cannot break free from thought. Then how can you realize the Dhamma, which is beyond thought, beyond mind, beyond the psychological thinking? When there is no more psychological thinking, who are you? What are you? Without thought, who are you? What are you? Can you stay with that nature? the awareness nature? Can you always be aware from there, the inner awareness? And that is the real understanding. So all these are so beautiful. That's why song was full of joy that day. And then I think the rest in the class also same. Even Pamasuri, Bratil, my wife, my daughter. Then later on I received the WhatsApp message from you. That's why I realized you also have the joy. Alicia, okay, now you can continue. Yeah. I more or less summarized that night. So
因为那天 after 你的 class， 让我 relate 去就是Cameron Highlands 有一个 poster 说直指人心，明心见性这样。因为对，因为你是 direct to 那个知识
direct to 明心见性。
对。
To realize your true mind, your true nature. 性 is your nature. 自性，佛性。
所以我觉得是很 extra 很 very amazing wonderful。其实那天的 class 有很多的 pointers brother 就 mention， 其实你如果再重新细听哦，很多的 pointers 给我们去学习。
对，
因为他讲到那个慧能菩萨的那个3个话，就是你还讲的无念，但是我们所要学习的无念，不是我们去寻找的无念，因为这个无念你只能够要老实实通过那个 training， 你才能够去悟到这个所谓的无念。
对，它是等那个 thought 全部停下来了啊 then that nature awareness nature surface then 你才悟得到了。你去找就找不到了，因为找就是那个念头找嘛。The thought is meditating, the thought is searching, the thought is looking for it, the thought want to know, the thought want to realize no thought. How can the thought which is active realize no thought? That's why you must relax, maintain awareness, and let the thought cease, and then find out 那个境界是什么来的，无念的境界。Like that night, we all wrote on the whiteboard there. Pamasuri have to write. The 无念的境界 is most important. But that is the first hallmark of Huining. If you cannot realize that, you cannot meditate according to Huining. Huining's teaching is very unique and very beautiful because he told sensuous disciple, he said what he teach arises from the nature. He don't use knowledge and thought to teach. Without that nature, to begin with, you cannot meditate, you cannot understand. Exactly like what the Buddha teach actually. But what the Buddha uses is heedfulness. If you are not heedful, you are as if dead. So what is heedfulness? Dhammapada verse 23, the Buddha summarized it. The constantly meditative, ever mindful is heedfulness. So if you are ever mindful, constantly meditative, then you hold on to this training, the steadfast one who hold on to this training, you will realize the enlightenment, the supreme born-free Nibbana, the realization of Nibbana, cessation of form and mind. So that is the promise that the Buddha actually described under the Dhammapada verses. So all this point towards the awareness nature. Without the awareness nature, you cannot be aware. When you are not aware means you are not mindful. Then to be ever mindful, you have to stabilize the awareness nature. So you have to start with sati, mindfulness, awareness. From there, stabilize it. That's why I have been sharing and teaching you all this while is just to do that. Once that one is done, the rest is automatic. to use the awareness nature to cultivate the Noble Eightfold Path or the meditation as taught by the Buddha is very easy. Then to make it a living reality also relatively easy. Well, when you are with that sati and awareness, everything you do is in that state of awareness. You see clearly. All of your senses, they are in sati. Your seeing, hearing, smell, taste, tactile, and thought process are all in sati. Not holding on to the memory, the thought. That's why you are from that nature aware outside. And the awareness is the one that can give rise to clear understanding. That is the silent mind observing. That's why it can understand who you are, what you are, and how the mundane mind arises and passes away, how we function as a human being, how the mundane thinking, the mano, follow that law of dependent origination, paticca samuppada. So all these are really beautiful, and because you went through that training, that's why you can see the beauty of all this teaching. You appreciate all this. Yeah, this is basically what arises when somebody starts. But I realize hardly anybody have the ability to see and understand all this and put it in words and explain to people to allow them to develop the understanding. That's why that part now, slowly the gap has been filled up. And now the explanation can be done in a much clearer manner. That's why now I can share differently. Where there are people who can understand, then we can develop this further until it becomes very, very clear and very beautiful. Sadhu, Alicia.
Yeah, Brother Teo, 是的，因为它的 difference between 这个 awareness 跟你的 heedless thinking，你可以很清楚的知道，
对，因为它是很靠近的。
对，但是
From
你
the
的
nature, the thinking all come forward very fast，好像慧能这样，他 reply to 无主嘛。How amazing that this nature of ours is already complete, perfect. How amazing all Dhamma arise from this nature. So 这个是那些开悟的人的 enlightened being. When they are aware from inside, they saw all this creation, all this manifestation. That's why I call it the process of creation from that pure nature, how it starts. From there, the first awareness arises. So the awareness nature is the first thing to come out from that nature. Then create the mundane mind. The mundane mind spring off the phenomenal world of consciousness and form. That's how the world is being created. That's how society, humanity, world, planets, universe are being created. That's why the Buddha used the word mind meka ade. So that mano is the mundane mind. So from the pure awareness nature, it manifests, it triggers. So for us to have the ability to understand all this, my nature realized one has to come with the mundane mind. Because without the karmic nature, you cannot take what they call rebirth. So that rebirth can happen in two ways. Most of the time it's just the normal ignorant way. Last thought moment avijja, with ignorance, then it condition rebirth consciousness. And this is the normal process. A human being has been in samsara, life after life, over the unending billions and billions of segmented life of repeated birth that they have gone through. Without understanding, they continue to come and take birth that way. But for those who cultivate and develop the understanding, especially the Bodhisattva who took the Bodhisattva way, they can still come where they have the karmic nature there. So this karmic nature allow them to have the condition to bring forth the repeated coming, but they are not born out of ignorance. They are born out of love and compassion, born of the four basic vows. Because when they took the four basic vows, it's out of love and compassion to take across the limitless living being so that they can be free from suffering, so that they can liberate themselves and either cease or go the Bodhisattva way to perfect themselves to be Sambuddha. So when you come in either form, whether through ignorance or through the Bodhisattva way, that form and mind that arise has this gateway. That's why the next session sharing is very good. Understanding the heart and the mind. So this heart is a very important area of understanding. It's not just the organ as a heart. That's why I explained in the sharing the other time when I give the sharing. The mind, they understand what that thing is in more depth. Where their word, sing, got two meaning. The same word represent mind and heart. So these two meaning using the same word is what differentiates Mahayana from the traditional Theravada teaching. That's why Theravada teaching, hardly any of this, what they call cultivator of the way at that time, can describe in clear manner the two mind and the mundane mind, the nature, everything. I realize the teaching doesn't record any of those things. They only give you the sainthood ways teaching the essential Dhamma for you to understand, to realize the cessation and finish. But there is a preparatory teaching to get people to have the condition to go this way. Then, just like our education system, you must have your kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, then upper secondary, and then you go to university. University is like the Bodhisattva way. You can do a lot more specialization and all those things to develop the understanding further. But you need all this preliminary education to bring forth the student that can actually qualify and continue to pursue the university education. That's why the skillful means the initial sainthood way teaching is a necessity. Without this, you cannot find enough numbers of cultivators to go that way, like not enough students to take the university program and course. So in a simpler manner, you can use that as an analogy to develop the understanding of why the preliminary teaching, the sainthood way, the Theravada teaching, the approach is just for that. Then later on, when the Mahayana teaching comes about, it get actually evolved further, and the great shift came about when Bodhidharma brought the teaching from India to China, because it is in China that this Mahayana teaching gain its momentum. Then it can flourish because there are a lot of great beings that come later to continue their understanding. Especially with the advent of six patriarchs, Liu Chu Hui Neng, After the 6 patriarchs, the understanding of the Dhamma, the Buddhist teaching, the Buddha Dhamma, actually flourished. It arose again and became very popular again. And it continued to evolve until today. So for those who have the capacity to understand all this, they will have the understanding. Then they will not create unnecessary, what they call argument over Theravada, the division of Theravada, Mahayana, or any of the Vajrayana and all those things. But basically, the essential teaching is the same. It's how far you can understand, how extensive you can develop the understanding and the training. And all this are the work of later cultivator of the way. That's why we also help in the process, because we have the condition with the Kayamita force. We develop all this. And all these are going to be very useful in times to come, because we have a Dhamma website that has this recorded. And this type of sharing and teaching in years to come is going to become very important, very useful. And later beings will actually expand on it to develop it further. It's just like science. As you progress, as you evolve, more and more people come out with their understanding, so they write research paper or they share their understanding. Then the new people learn faster because they have all this behind them. Then some of them has the potential to expand on it, to go beyond it. That's why they develop more understanding. That's how science, the last 20, 30 years, we progress very fast, evolve very fast. So the spiritual teaching is the same, that field. The only thing is, it is not a technical subject. It's not thought-based, it's not knowledge-based. So you cannot expand it like the normal knowledge-based style of technical, scientific and technical knowledges, because this one is more of the spiritual understanding. So the spiritual understanding needs sati, mindfulness, awareness, whereas the scientific law, they don't need sati. With the thought is enough. So scientific law is non-spiritual. That's why it's just knowledge, thought-based. But if you want to understand spiritual teaching, you have to go awareness. The awareness is the only instrument that you must have in order to continue to investigate, develop understanding, and expand on all this. So all this, in years to come, it will become more and more interesting, more and more beautiful. So with this, I think it can help many people. Very good, Alicia. Sadhu, you bring up a very good condition.
Gratitude, there's a lot of pointer I get.
Yeah. 对，要回去听，再听。
很多。
今天的 summarize until very clear, very different.
Yeah. 因为很多的时候，这个所谓的佛法还是什么 like sharing by 我 brother Teo 啊，比如 like 我 understand 的最近 from 大智度论里面，他说很多的时候要等时候，要等人，然后等地方这样，so that 那个因缘才会起来。
对，
所以很奥妙，我觉得真的是
很奥妙，对 ，very amazing。
因为 remember 那天 Bertie 我有一个 Sunday share about 我的experience， 然后OK 这个就是我最近所 experience 的 one of the thing that 我要跟大家分享一下。
Yeah，
他就 like Sunday 那天after 我 share 了我的 experience 之后 then Tuesday 他就 manifest 一个 condition
对对，你有讲过，
那天 Tuesday 早上我就起来 then suddenly 我感觉到我的头很痛，就鼻子好像塞着，你知道是什么一回事，但是你里面有一个 message 跟你讲，你今天不要上班，我就讲哈，怎么这样奇怪？但是你的 Monday mind 会，为什么上班？
那个是一个 message from 你的 nature。
对，他就叫我不要上班，然后然后我就感觉到哇很不舒服，但是很奇怪的是 brother 就他没有那个 grasping 这样brother 就
对 that's why it's for you to see， for you to go through to experience。
不舒服是很不舒服，但是我觉得如果是以前我会觉得我会跟自己
有那个嗔恨心the dislike and all those things the negative emotions，
就 after that 我就去use 我的 nasal spray whatever need to be done 然后他又给你一个 condition， 你不能睡又好像很不舒服，但是你又有不高兴的东西，你内心里面在笑
对，自己会笑了，because you have developed the understanding behind， that's why it has no power over you， 不能够来弄like delude you and deceive you to become miserable or unhappy anymore. The mind will understand whatever it is the reality. It's meant for something. That's why last time I used this understanding to share with you all, cultivate all the way. You remember I told you all, whatever that happened in life, use it to develop the understanding. Then in the meditation field, whatever happened is for you to learn. Do not panic. It's sometimes a test. It's sometimes an understanding for you to go through. So you just accept, because in the course of our cultivation, many things will manifest. Different time, different manifestation. Sometimes it's a test. Sometimes it's just a condition for you to develop the understanding. So if you don't have the understanding behind or the guide from somebody who understands, then you can be trapped there for quite a long time. They call it like you stagnate. You cannot break free. You cannot go beyond that limitation of understanding. So when you have this training and understanding until long enough, especially you have perfected yourself for long period of time, then when you come, you will come to develop all this understanding on your own, like what happened to me in my nature. Then I realized everything is meant to be. That's why whatever happened is part of the way. I use that word. I even told Song, I think that time I told you all. Whatever happened in life, in meditation, is part of the way. Understand? Part of the way means part of cultivation. It's for you to understand. Sometimes it's a test. Sometimes it's for you to develop understanding. And sometimes it's to show you something. It has to do with certain things that is connected to life, connected to people who you know. Sometimes it's your loved one, your parents or whatever. That's why the sign will come. The manifestation of certain thing will come. That's why when it came and tested me that time I already had the initial understanding. When the first cessation happened in 1989 after I come back from the Cameron retreat, I already had then the real test is my mother got heart attack, landed in the hospital. But it very quickly reversed itself when I had the understanding. I think within a few days. I just do what I have to do, see my classmate. I told my mother, meet there at the clinic. Then my classmate confirmed, gave me a letter to admit. So I admitted my mother in UH, I remember. Then that time my sister was there. Then immediately in ICU. But she recovered very fast. Then immediately after that I radiate metta, then I do what I need to do. Then the whole thing reversed very fast. Then there's another incident, I think around that time also. My son that time was very young, I think 7 years old or one. He rolled down from the staircase in a basket every time so young. Then his hand fractured. Then again we went to my classmate clinic. He said you better send to UH. So we get a letter. They did an X-ray. It's compound fracture. Then that time I was lucky where I was working in University of Malaya. Then UH also under my maintenance. The medical faculty, the dentistry faculty. So because of that, I got a senior TA, technical assistant, who was in charge there, and he know the doctor very well. Well, he's long time. So when I call him, he said no problem. But Mr. Teo, he said I will arrange for you everything. So I don't need to register for my son. I went there. I met him. He said, "Give me your son's name and all those things." Then he gave me the number already. He said, "Your turn will be the next one." He said, "You wait to go in." He said, "Oh." Then that's how my son went in, and the specialist was very good, Dr. Dalen, I remember his name. He cured my mother of the gangrene, and he did my son's operation, the compound fracture, and did it very well. So all this, they are meant to be, will be, whatever happen, it is part of the way. The word is part of the way, part of cultivation. So when you understand that, you become very different. So what you described just now is also the same, Alicia. 它会 like prompt you and let you understand one, then you will go through one, and you will come to understand all this, which is very beautiful.
But 他没有 end 在那边 ，but 就 now afternoon 就 diarrhea 他就
it will
diarrhea
happen one. Never mind, let it be. You will continue to experience. Even Puja also went through a few, but not exactly the way you went through. But her one is tested in a different way.
他 diarrhea 的时候，哇，一直笑啊，就里面一直
对，
笑，
因为你了解了
对
then 你有那个 condition to experience how it's like, because normal people, when they go through all this diarrhea suffering, they not aware at all, understand? 你有了 awareness, 你能够 like 好像那个佛法讲的 when you have the condition to see what suffering is, that's why that second turning of the first noble truth of dukkha, this dukkha is to be understood. You can only understand it when you go through that process, the first noble truth reality. That's why 它现出那个 condition for that barrier to follow. Then only you can have the awareness to see. That's how I saw all those things. Then that time I remember I also, because I used to have this, what they call, pulse, P-I-L, is it L-E? 低称啊，几冲啊, I think it's pulse. They call it fistula. It's on your buttock. Very painful one because it is going to grow and all that. So that time, that thing become like about to become septic or what. The pulse, everything inside. So that time, I remember 1996, before I fly over to US, holiday with my whole family. So I went and see the specialist because my classmate told me, you have to go and see the specialist. He said, this one, you cannot do the incision and drain the ID. That one temporary one won't help you much. You recover a few weeks after that, you will come again. So I listened to his advice. I went to a specialist. Then while I was going through that, I was experiencing the thing like what you go through. I laugh at it. I know normal people cannot endure it. It's so painful. Then of course I went there. I have to wait for the doctor. Then I went in. Then he did a check, and everything was done with calmness, peacefulness, understanding. Then even when he told me, oh, this one you got 3, he said, inside the fistula, he got to do the operation and remove. He said he don't do short-term one, IND, but I told him my classmate did, I recovered. He said that one for a few weeks only, no point. Oh, I said like that. I said, how long does it take? He said, if you want, you tonight go back, prepare, tomorrow you admit, then I will do the operation in the afternoon. So fast, huh? Then I told him, but I got a US trip coming, I say, in about, I think 5 days time or what, I forgot already. I know it's very short notice. Then I asked him, how long does it take to heal or recover? He said, it depends, he said, but you have to decide, he said, because he cannot decide for me, he said, because he know fly to US is 19 to 21 hour flight. And after the operation, he himself also not confident. Then I told him, okay, if that is the case, go ahead. So after the operation, after 1 day, I was discharged. Then I had to wait for him to give me the medicine and all those things, the painkiller, all those things, which I never take because I don't need it. Then he told me, he said, do you need the ring or not? I said, what ring? He said, for you to sit so that the buttock doesn't get hurt. Oh, I said, no need, don't worry. I said, I can meditate in the plane. So I went through the whole thing. Like you say, you can laugh at it, you develop the understanding. So you do what you have to do. Then I met up with a very good surgeon. And this one, he is very skillful. It ended up, my wife told me, is his student's father. One of his students, Samuel Tay. In fact, that student also become a doctor after that. And he's very good. I did HMC 96 or almost 27 years already. So all this will arise and happen, and you understand, which is very good. So after that, the diarrhea, what happened?
After the diarrhea, then I get heartburn. Then 他好像那个 heart area 好像很辛苦这样，但是我就没有就说我没有到 I mean 我讲这个是我的一个过程。我要有心，就是说我要
有那个 faith and understanding, but for you no problem， 你一定会有的。
对，到第2天它就全部 disperse 掉，没有掉了，然后 everything like you know over the night everything
一下子 reverse 到完。
对，全部 reverse 到完，我才这样子的。
对。
Beautiful, but it's a very beautiful experience.
Yeah，对。
这个 awareness 给我的 understanding 是真的 unending 哦
，unending。
真的每一天都有 like you know 很多的，好像 Tuesday 也是我在上课的时候，我是听着 Brother 讲课的嘛。但是我在 area 跟我的媳妇回来的那个 remote control 第一声是一起的
对。
你可以感觉到但是你不是你的 sharing consciousness 的，它是从
不是听到了才知道的
是 direct 的。So amazing 这个 nature I was like
对 very amazing
对，所以它就是很令我的 faith 更加的 strong 比方做事好，什么都好哦，他这个因为你真的是你的 mind 哦，你很 clear， 因为你没有 obscure 来，就是没有 thought 在里面哦，你要做什么？比来我 interact 跟我的 staff 好哦，他们给我丢一大堆 problem 给我，但是就好像 Radio 讲的，在你的 silent 里面去 deal with them 哦，你的 mind like how to say like 你是 empty 的，你头脑是 empty 的，当他们
去 worry 什么的，
丢一个 question 给你的时候哦，你的 spontaneous 就 like no like 你就会去跟他们解决掉这个问题。
对。
它的 arising of the Dharma 是完完全全不一样
对，
不一样。
我
现在我还不会很怎样讲，就是不大会 explain 的，但是我觉得那个升起哦，是完完全不一样，跟以前不一样了的就。
对，a lot
of
difference already。
很 amazing， 就算我听 Radio 的 talk 也好，现在哦，他的 understanding 可以
不一样了，
很多的来那些跑出来
，much more clarity and deeper understanding，就好像送他们不清他们。As you progress, you listen is different. Even Manyon is trying to develop that understanding, but it's so different already, and it really changed them. In fact, many Kayamita benefited from the sharing, and now they also can sense the difference. That's why the listening make a big difference, and the listening over the years make the transformation more and more like more and more stable. And as you develop more and more stability, your faith also become more and more stable. Then all this is going to drive the cultivator of the way to determine, to create that understanding, to stabilize the understanding, then to make the vow, to make the adithan, aspiration, all those things. Then they become like very diligent, very serious, full of faith. And this is how cultivator of the way can move fast and progress fast. That's why I always hint to you all, don't be complacent. That word is very important. If once you become complacent, you think you know already, then you become complacent and neglect your training. You do not continue with your training and all. And then you will develop what they call regression. You realize you fall back, like what happened to PG. Then she has to start again. So all this, they are part and parcel of cultivation. For PG one, I think it's more of her karmic condition, because she has all this karmic condition that she need to go through. That's why she got her duty, and now she has to go back to Penang to take care of the other sister, who has, I think, some First Noble Truth reality problem, mainly disease and sickness. So she told us about 2 or 3 weeks ago that she might have to go back, and really she went back. So let's hope she can develop the understanding to go through all this. It's meant to be. Then after she go through, she will become more clear about the cultivation, the Dhamma, the understanding. Then she will become different. So by the time she finish up her duty, and everything fall back into place, she can actually determine again and start all this again. Then this time when she start, she will definitely become very different. Sometimes it's our karmic conditioning, the duty that we need to perform and all those things. They are your loved ones, and you have to go through. But with the understanding, I think she can develop the understanding to endure and go through all this. It's not easy. Because the sister, I think, is not a normal type of illness. That one I was told by her. The niece told her, the specialist said, not many specialists around who are in that field. So all this is what Dhamma cultivation, life and reality are. So when we have the condition to go through to develop the understanding, we actually learn from it. Very good, Alicia. 很好，沙掉。
不是就法布里日常生活嘛，
所以日常生活就是佛法。
通过日常生活里面，其实就有讲过一句，happiness is the prelude of suffering。
prelude of，
在这个法里面，我真正的见证。
Yes， 你可以见证了，
对，因为当你很开心的时候，你的 mindset 是 like no， 又 different 嘛。当你看之后，一个不开心的东西一倒过来，你又倒了。但是在里面，如果你有 mindfulness， 你就可以看到所谓的那个 ocean 上下所以你就觉得，
对，
你就下定决心 ，I want to get out 就
因为是一切有为法嘛。So 有为法会现出 all the different possibility and condition. So whatever you experience, even joy or what, it will bring about attachment, clinging, grasping, holding on to it through memory and all those things. Then you want it repeated. Then especially when it involves your own loved ones, or your life, or things that you hold on to dearly, then nature is whatever that arise, there are causes and conditions, and this condition and causes will evolve. So when condition arise, that joy arise, exists. But when conditions cease to be, that joy can become the opposite. Then without Dhamma, like you come to realize, you can be afflicted. You can become miserable. But with mindfulness, awareness, and the Dhamma, you can accept all this reality. Because this one all pertain to the conditioned world. The conditioned world has its duality. Then when you don't have the Dhamma, the unconditioned Dhamma, you can be trapped in duality. Then it can condition the living being to have affliction, suffering, misery, sorrow, lamentation, and all those things, even leading to depression. But for those who have the Dhamma, they will understand these are the reality of life and existence. Condition like that, things will like that. Condition no more, things will cease to be. This is the reality. So they will not be deluded by it. They will not be deceived by it. They will not feel any pain or any unhappiness or what happened. But these are the reality. So coming to terms with the reality is the wisdom that one develops when you have awakened. That's why the form and mind is not what you think. Without the wisdom connected, it cannot arise the Dhamma, the Yoniso Manasikara, the wisdom to prompt you to liberate your mind, to free your mind, to set that form and mind free. So that is where the teaching becomes so unique, so marvelous, so wonderful. This type of teaching you cannot really find in other places because it's a living reality. It's not about after you die only the promised eternal life and all those things. That one nobody knows. But this one is based on the here and the now. That's why this Dhamma is Sanditiko, can be realized in the here and the now. There is Akaliko, beyond thought, beyond mind. Then you can investigate into it. Ehipasiko, then Opanaiko, leading inward towards our nature or heart. Then Pacetang can be realized by the wise, each for themselves. So all these are very beautiful teachings that point towards the truth, points towards the reality, developing all the totality of understanding. 很好，沙丢，Alicia，
差不多就时间也差不多。
对，你 summarize，
我 summarize， 因为要讲的真的很多。
对，
我是很感恩，因为我以前的思维是全部负面的，现在思维虽然有时偶尔会有一点点，还是有一点点 evil 了哈，不过精进的在学习，因为真的不一样，这个Buddha Dhamma 真的很 amazing， 在 Brother Dio 这里学习到的，能够把它融入我的生活里面，每一天都在运用这个佛法来去carry 我的 duty 啊，还是我做因为这个你慢慢你已经不再需要来practice truthfulness，
对，
我不可以讲骗话，you know sometimes，
你知道不能了的，不值得的，
所以因为你知道 karmic 嘛，你知道 karma，
对，
哇，你这样子一直走着来哇 Virtue， 我不知道，我最近我早上起来也是起得早，我会 spend a bit of time 读我的大智度论，为什么我知道？因为它是越读来越怎样讲越顺了，越这样子
more and more understanding, more and more joy，
所以我是很感恩 Brother Dio， 因为能够遇到 Brother Dio， 能够遇到佛法，能够改变我这一世人来的。
对。
我来的所谓的来的 mission 是什么？我知道
对，沙度。
所以我很感恩，所以我每一天将我学习到的都回向给法界一切众生。
沙度，
希望他们也像一样能够发那个阿弥多罗三藐三菩提心，希望一切众生能够平安喜乐。
沙度，
很多的感到很多的 suffering 啊，为他们感到。
对。
所以我就借此机会也感恩 Brother Dio， 感恩凯拉米达，感恩所有在我学习过程给我的善知识，还有所有的一切。所以 Brother Dio， 我要 end 在这里，因为我有一点点里面很多的感触，很多的感动，因为
对。
这年对我来讲是人生的一个大改变，就好像我
对。
一个死人变成 maybe 一个真正的活人。
对。
就我要配合你的对话。
可以，沙度。Let us rejoice， 沙度，很好 ，very good sharing. Because for us who have been following the progress of what Alicia has gone through, is in fact like what she said. The whole of her life has transformed so dramatically. It's like the earlier phase, the life is like hell, so much suffering and misery, 16 years of depression and disease, sickness, illness, problem, the wrong thought, everything, the coming thing. Then when he starts to develop the affinity to receive the teaching, the Dhamma, the whole process actually transformed her so much. And Toei, I think it's about 10 years only. Already the change, the progress has been so tremendous, really amazing. Like what she described with a lot of joy and that type of far-seeing. And she also had this condition to be connected to this Tisangwang Pusa, That one, the vow, very heavy, and she can actually do the work of like Tisawang Pusa to help a lot of living beings in the future. Where her way is to come through suffering to understand all this, then only connect back. So let us now rejoice for the final time, then we share merits, then we end. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so we will share merits now. Akasata cha pumata devanaga mahindika punyang tang anumoditwa chirang raktantu lokasasana Etta wata jamihi sampadan punya sampadan sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya idang menya tinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang menya tinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo Idang menya tinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo Devo asatu kalena sasa sampati hetu cha Fito bhavatu loko cha Raja bhavatu dhammiko Imina punyang kamena Mame bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yawa nivana patiya sadhu sadhu sadhu. Okay, you all can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Then we end sadhu.